Blessings. Welcome to today's Law Enforcement Daily Devotional. Still in Exodus chapters 14 and 15 today. Um, Today's lesson just struck me as I got into it because there was this thought of Egypt coming out. And we know there's going to be this great battle because the Egyptians aren't going to let the Israelites go. Even though Pharaoh told them to get up and leave, he's going to come after them. I think a big part of that is because when the Israelites left Egypt, God allowed them to plunder the Egyptians. They didn't actually physically steal or take anything, but the Egyptians just, man, God turned their hearts to the Israelites with such favor that they gave them gold and silver and all these treasures and said, here, take this with you when you leave. So, part of me believes that this greedy, ungodly man, Pharaoh, saw that all of their treasures, or just this vast majority of treasures from his country, were gone, and he's going back to get them. Not to mention the fact that they just lost this probably over 1 million people that was a slave population. So their economy is going to be greatly affected by this because they don't have slaves to do their work anymore. And heaven forbid they should have to do any work on their own. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, we see Pharaoh decide that he's going to go after him. And God welcomes it. He's like, I'm going to gain glory through this for my name. Um, one of the things that we're created for is to glorify God in everything that we say and do. That's when we're supposed to be reflections of Him, so that people see us and recognize God. It's a way to glorify God, and that's why it's so important for us to not be under the law, but live in such a way that we do reflect God, that we're image bearers of our Heavenly Father. The battle belongs to the Lord. So there's a lot of other places in the Bible that you can look at to gain an understanding that God will fight these battles for us. The Israelites didn't lift a finger in this battle, and they won. They defeated the greatest army on earth at this time. Joshua 10, verses 10 through 14, verse 30, 32, and 42 are all examples of God fighting the battles for us. Joshua chapter 11, 6 through 9, Joshua 23, verses 3 through 10, and then chapter 24, verses 5 through 13. Joshua had to go into Canaan and take this land. So there were a ton of battles in Joshua, a ton of fighting. So that's why there's so many examples in Joshua of God winning the battles for them. Then if you jump over into Judges chapter 1, verse 4, good example. 1 Samuel chapter 51, verses 6 through 11, and then chapter 7, verses 5 through 14, chapter 14, verses 15 through 20, chapter 17, verses 46 through 47, chapter 18, verse 20. Then we'll go over into 2 Samuel, chapter 5, verse 23 through 25. Deuteronomy, great example, in chapter 3, verse 22. Psalms, which was written by David. Also, we see a lot of God fighting for David. Some of the coolest examples, in my opinion. And I've just got to... When David and his men are in the forest and they're fixing to go out and fight, they hear the footsteps of God in the trees as He goes out before them to win the battle. Just, can you imagine your army in the trees waiting, and all of a sudden you hear boom, 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 boom. It's God, and He's going to fight for you. What a cool example. And I also love the example of Gideon. God uses confusion sometimes to win battles on His behalf. Psalm 35, verse 1, chapter 55, verse 18, chapter 108, verses 12 through 13. If you need these, just send me an email, chuck@fcpo.org, and I can send you these so you can look them up. You can use them for Bible studies, wherever you need. But tons of awesome examples in here. And then chapter 15, they're singing and they're just so joyful and happy because of what God has done for them. And they've seen Him come and fight for them. And it's just a way that, they just overjoyed and they sing to Him. But like all humans, it doesn't take long. Verse 23 of chapter 15, they're already complaining again. We don't have enough water. If God's going to take care of you, He's going to take care of you. I mean, God's perfect. Everything is with integrity. It's 100%. So if God's going to protect you in the battle, you think He's going to protect you with water and food? Of course He is. God's a perfect God. Anyway, tomorrow we're in Exodus 16, 17, and 18. Look forward to seeing you then. Be safe.